Okay. I'm alive. I'm awake, folks. Barely. Hold on. Did it not work? Huh. It says it's streaming, but I don't see it. Okay, there we go. I'm alive. I'm awake. I'm here. I'm actually somehow awake. Okay, so we have an SCL in a couple of minutes. I believe it's on making a mission. So we're going to
ideal ship for the grade of the mission, so that you can do the mission in one run if you have the appropriately sized ship.
So the ideal ship for the grade of the mission. So you're saying that each of these missions are designed with a certain size or scope of ship in mind?
Hold on.
That's right.
When we go over them and we're planning out the grades and the difficulties, we will look to go, right,
Well,
this one is one that we class for, say, a caterpillar. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have a caterpillar to do it. It's just kind of the grading that we do.
Got you. No video,
so
just your
we'll
camera.
Caterpillar,
Hey, Brogger, what's up, man?
SCU. You could do it on a Pisces if you
don't
want.
worry,
it's
you're gonna have
quite a bit longer.
video,
and you might
visual,
have to leave the back
just
door of
a
your
second.
Pisces
Just
open with a 32 SCU stuck out of it, but that's how you want to play the game.
And
sure.
somebody
you have to
will
put a flag on it. Got to put a flag on it too, otherwise it's illegal.
Don't say that unless you're going to let them do that. Don't put that idea in their heads.
Where is it?
Then
Okay,
they'll
you
just
don't have
ask
to put
for
a flag on it.
You can't put a flag on it. You're not going to let them.
You shouldn't put a flag on it.
You dug yourself a hole. This is all you.
How long has it
Wednesday
been?
shows, man.
Brogger?
Friday shows.
Has it only been a few minutes?
So how are we communicating to that to the player?
So I just
this
missed
mission
them
is designed
introducing
for a
themselves
specific
and stuff,
size
Brogger?
or scale of ship.
Is that
how
it?
will players know what the ideal is supposed to be?
So, it's all in the contract
How are you
details.
today?
So before we just used to have the description on the contract, and we used to have to expose a lot of information to it, and it always kind of restricted the granularity of the information we can do. With the cargo hold update, we got the ability to pre-generate all of the objectives.
By the way,
so
courtesy
when
of
you
a
go in your mobile desk to
donation-
accept the contract, you'll see the description, which is the narrative for the mission on the left, and on the right you'll see all of the your delivery itinerary, and you'll see every single commodity, and you'll see the amount of cargo
just so you know,
Now,
a friend of mine, a friend of the channel, donated some money for me to get a boom arm
we can display,
for my
so you won't actually
microphone
know
here.
that it's going to give you a 16.
So that should
like
be
a
here
16
in a
SU
couple
box,
of days.
Give you 4 of them to.
I really wish
got a
Omega was here. I could tell him that.
Somewhere we want to go for the
He's
future.
going to be so happy.
Kind of goes into the next question here. Can we pick the size of the box that the cargo hauling mission will spawn? Doesn't sound like it.
No, not currently. It's something that we'd like to get to on the design side, on the mission design side, because it gives more ability for the player to pick and know how they fit. You know, say you're doing some emergent economy trading with your commodities, right? And you've got space for, you know, a little bit of extra cargo, and you're going to the same place. You've spotted a mission that goes to that place where you're going to sell your goods emergently. You might be like, right, well, if they was all in like 2 SCU boxes, I could fit more in. So we want to get to that direction.
Put them on someone's lap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry them.
I think we talked about this on SCL. The question says, can we use our own commodities or commodities that we have found to complete these hauling missions?
No.
No.
Not like so. The hauling missions as they are, these are tracked, contracted goods. So this company has already owned these commodities, and they're asking you to transport them from A to B. However, what that open question is kind of alluding to is more resource gathering missions. So we will have missions where you are asked to just get 10 Copion horns, or this refinery just wants X amount of raw iron, and the player can get them by their own means. For example, you could go mine it yourself. You could pirate it and use it for the mission and things like that. So in the future, we will have missions that allow you to get the commodities via your own means. We will have missions that allow you to
go to Wish
and
get the
Wish command. I'm getting smacked
on the cheap.
There we go. Echo feedback. So how have you been doing, Roger? Doing good, I hope.
How will players earn reputation and progress in the hauling missions in the guild?
So there is the current hauling missions are actually using the same reputation system that's in the game at the moment, so similar to the mercenary missions. So you see your progression in Delphi like you do right now. In the future, there is a whole new system coming, which I think we mentioned at SEL is being designed by Luke Presley, and Economy's been involved in that as well, because EVR handles any kind of reward, whether that's UBC or rep or whatever it is. So that will be a bit like EVR is holistic for UEC. It will also be holistic for reputation, but that's not for 324. That's coming later.
We're using some. I mean, it's no secret we're not always the best at naming things, but we're using cargo missions and hauling missions interchangeably. Do we have are we just calling them all hauling missions, or are they calling them cargo missions, or?
This is something I know we're going to get into a bit later, but essentially the simplest form we look at it is there's hauling and there's courier. Hauling is large volume moving of commodities, and courier is meant to be like you're the Amazon guy, right?
Yeah,
you've got maybe,
I know.
5 boxes, but they're all personal. They've all been directly requested by someone. So they're the sort of 2 delineations we're going with.
And they're all within cargo missions.
Yeah, they're all within sort of the delivery general scope of it. So there's delivery, hauling, courier.
Okay. Hey, David, we should change that graphic on ISC since it hasn't gone out yet. So the work in progress box is cargo missions. We should change it to hauling missions. And that's what you get on a pre-tape.
Thanks, David.
Let's see. Next question says, well, it's a statement. Don't make a theme park, CIG. Oh, okay. So obviously making missions and everything, it's essentially adding rails to what's supposed to be a sandbox game. This is a forever consideration for you. We hope that CIG don't just put all the gameplay on rails and stop us from making their own emergent opportunities. There's not actually a question there. That's just a statement.
It's just a statement, yes.
Statement, yes.
So I guess the person doesn't like theme parks. Theme parks are meant to be fun, so I guess you don't want a fun game, right? No. No, how we see missions is missions are, and I know people take the piss currently, but missions are meant to be more narrative-driven stories in the game. But we also use them as a vehicle to introduce players to the more emergent aspects of the world.
I wish our friend was here too.
So the hauling missions are meant to show players a connection of commodities between locations.
You know who I'm talking about.
Now they know that this place trades in iron and this place wants iron, and they can look at the commodity terminals and goes, well, that sells for this much and that buys for this much. I could actually make a profit if I ignore the mission and just do it without the mission. That's what it's there for. It's to expose a gameplay route. It's something we found very successful when we first did salvage. And Thorsten Lehman loves me for this, but when we first did salvage and we put out the hull scraping.
Does anyone else see this?
In its first release, we saw some people play it, but it wasn't as much of a boom. But when we released the missions, which acted as an easy way to show the players the salvage gameplay, we saw a huge spike in people playing salvage. And that's just generally how we look at missions. It's to introduce players to the sandbox nature of our game easily. So then if they wish to break away from missions, just start doing sandbox things, they can.
And I mean, you don't need a mission to ask someone to escort you either, you know? So it's not like they have to have an escort mission. So if you're thinking about the balance between missions and emergent gameplay, then hauling missions with an escort is a good example of those two things working together.
Gotcha. Different types of cargo are always fun. This next question says, are alternative forms of cargo, things like hazardous waste, radioactives, we used to have some of that, packed up vehicles, time-sensitive stuff, small stuff, data, are all of this still in the cards?
Yeah. Data running is its own beast. I'm not going to touch that. But all of the other commodities definitely so. The future idea is we want these like kind of like certifications, gradings, where you have to sort of show that you can haul radioactive goods or haul livestock and look after it appropriately to then sort of unlock those missions. But yeah, no, that is the plan. That's something we want. We want you to be able to haul these different things because they all introduce their own challenging, right? Whereas a simple box mission from A to B might be quite simple, and you think, well, I just sit in my ship. When you're
I
like,
find
right
it
now, I've got
funny
a
they
whole
have
livestock,
something saying
the atmosphere of your ship's got to be right so
deliberately,
they can breathe.
this is here saying
the
you can't
correct
see
mix
James
of
doing
oxygen, air, and
pyro
nitrogen,
stuff.
things like that.
Why is
You've got to
that?
make sure that you feed them.
Why do we need to know that?
Stuff
And why
like
are
that.
you trained to be
That's the
mean,
idea of what
CIG? Come on.
we go towards. Things like if we have perishable goods like food, you've got to make sure that it stays cold so that they or
Yeah,
frozen.
I
Make sure
agree,
that their
Teaser.
crate stays at a certain temperature so
I'm
it
okay
can
with that,
prolong the
but
lifespan of the food so it doesn't
feels
go rotten by
cheap
the time you
to
get
me.
to your destination. Things like that.
Okay. Makes sense. You're gonna put animals in boxes?
It's quite possible. It might be that, I can't. It'd make my life a hell of a lot easier if I just slap a box on, make it
Instead of
rotate
trying
a
to
little
herd
bit.
animals on your
Yeah,
ship?
instead of so like, here's a box. It's got a cow in it. I make the box go moo every now and then, and the box moves.
Although, oh gosh, forcing Chad McKinney to make animals stick to the cargo grid, that could be fun.
That's why I'm glad he lives in America and I live in England, because he'd try to kill me
Okay.
if I just come to him with that request.
Will hauling missions or any missions ever make use of ground vehicles?
Hopefully, yeah. It's something that we've talked about, and it's something that we'd like. The ability to go between sort of two outposts, but there's a lot of things required to make that a good experience. Along with the aspect of why would you do it? Like there will be people who just like, I want to drive ground vehicle. I'm going to do
love how he
the
looks
delivery
at
between A
design
and B, but then you'll get
Something
economy
must be
Nick here,
interesting happening behind
going,
design.
but it's not efficient. You're not earning the money in the best way. You're taking all your time.
Sorry,
I
I'm
think,
distracted by the
like-
sign,
I think the
folks. It's just
principal
weird.
concern you might have is, yeah, but what about all of that orbital bombardment that is slowing down your convoy?
Yeah. Potato.
Yeah. I know what you
I need
mean,
you-
Brogger. It's just
I need you to
boo.
center yourself in the frame.
Me wanna see
you're
spoily
You're bouncing
stuff.
off, and you're on. I'm just going to do the show over
Yeah.
here. You
Come
do
on,
the show on the left,
man.
I'll do the show on the right.
Yeah, me
Switch back to
want
Elliot.
to
How's
see
that look?
spoiler stuff.
There we go. Oh, you're centered more. Hold on. Kind of off center. There we go. Pre-tapes no
I
better.
pace.
Cargo is big. You mentioned that there's the hauling missions, and then the courier missions were just smaller boxes, smaller quantities of boxes. Would you ever consider something so small that you would carry it on you, like in one of your pouches, a real like secret agent kind of thing, where only you know you
Secret
have it. There's no
agent.
outward indicator you're carrying it,
It
and
is.
people
So, I
would have
mean,
to hunt you
It
down.
means hopefully
So that's
4.0
like-
will happen
that is-
later this
they-
year.
those things need
Brogger.
transporting, obviously, but the hauler missions are specifically for
Sorry,
the large
chat,
scale
we're talking about
logistics.
things
So
that aren't
the
even
hauling missions tend
remotely-
to generate the kinds of quantities that
The
need to be
window that
transported
Jared
at large
has?
scale.
Yeah.
But like you have said, and like Elliot has just said before, different commodities, different items could be transported with different types of logistic mission, let's call them.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that courier
yeah.
missions would definitely tie into.
But that would
'cause
imply
they are
you're
more personal
actually in
requests.
space.
That'd be a courier type
Yeah.
thing.
Player contract.
So-
You got more?
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
Jared. I was just thinking, one of the main questions that came up was just because we have a large ship, or just because we have been doing hauling missions for a while, we've got a lot of reputation, we've been doing this gameplay for a while, doesn't mean that we wouldn't still want to take more risky, high value, smaller volume missions. Is that going to be what happens in hauling? So that won't necessarily be what happens in the hauling career, specifically because of the volumes in hauling, but that doesn't mean that those kinds of high risk small volume, high value commodities won't need trading and won't have their own place in logistics.
Okay. Player contracts and job boards. Will players ever be able to set up contracts to have cargo or items hauled by other players?
So we do have player beacons. And I
Hey,
know
Brogger,
what that
I really hate to do
current
this,
state of
man,
that
but
is,
I have
but,
to go to the
that
What
is
it, Nick?
gentleman's
system.
room,
Go ahead,
and
Worked perfectly.
I'm hopefully not going to be gone too long.
It's a feature.
My window is
But
good.
that's
My
Is
something
it?
which we
camera's gonna be looking this
It's
way.
like the economy,
and-
it's-
yeah.
it's
Well, I have to
Non-existent?
shut
Oh,
my
sorry.
camera off for a minute, and yeah, you understand.
okay.
Yeah, I know. I'll
This
be
is
right
pre-recorded, and
back.
if that still makes it into the show, know that I don't value my job. That'll probably still be
I'll
in the
be
show.
right
I mean,
back,
it's just
chat.
look. We're just going to leave that in because I've said it before. We have the same conversations you do. The same exact things you guys talk about, the same concerns that you have. We say all the same things, just 12 weeks before you do. We recognize that some of these systems still have work to do, still need love. I'm going to ask Elliot about box missions, so don't you worry. So don't take our candor about it as
I'll be
us
right
not
back,
caring
guys.
about it or us not thinking it's important. It's just there's a very long list of things that we're doing for Star Citizen that we still have to do, that we still have to fix, and that's just us being very aware of it. And sometimes you just have to kind of go, yeah, we know.
If we don't, we'd all be depressed, right?
Yep.
Gotta
Yep.
gotta have fun to make
So-
fun.
So just take it as us being like you. And we understand it. We're aware of it. It's on the list. And just all we can ask for is patience while we try to get to everything. All right. Continue with whatever we
So
were
to-
talking about. I've forgotten now. Player
So
concepts.
to
player
answer
beacons.
to answer the question, Elliot, the beacon system is something which provides for players to contract other players, and it's a system we will be looking to expand upon in the future. And personally, I think that this side of the economy is fundamental, given that we are having a hybrid economy. So player-driven
Yeah.
system
Yeah, that's
sustained.
Space Tomato. Clip it. Fundamentally said.
Yes, yeah, it really is. It's. I don't think. I've been, like I said, I'm going on 10 years here now. I've had 100 conversations with Tony and with everybody else who's involved with this stuff, and I cannot overstate how important the player-driven aspect of our economy is to us. It's just things like the player beacon system and stuff. It's just waiting for the eye of development, Sauron, to turn its eye back to it, resources to free up, new technologies to work on. A lot of this stuff, it's like you don't want to put in a whole bunch of work when you know this other work that you also have to do is going to invalidate that. So we're forced to kind of sit there and grin and bear certain aspects of this while we're waiting for other new technologies and other new works to come online. But it is, fundamental's a really good word for that, Nick. Thank you. All right. And we'll follow that up with dynamic mission generation. So we go from the players making it to the StarSim and Quantum making it. Dynamic mission generation, StarSim/Quantum, was always supposed to dynamically generate missions in response to the activities of players and Quanta. Is this still the plan?
So the short answer is yes. And when we are ready to talk more about that, we absolutely will. You will be the first to know about it. And I mean, the reason we're doing all this now is because we don't want you to have to wait any longer for this kind of gameplay. But everything we're doing now, even though we're doing it manually, we'll be able to plug into the implementation of StarSim when it's ready. So we're not wasting work, but we just wanted to get this gameplay in so that you don't have to wait any longer.
Right.
But yes, the short answer is yes.
You can make a good point. All that work to spec out StarSim, to design it, to figure it out, that's there. So we can so while it's still hardening and becoming ready, we can sit there and say, okay, well, this plugs into this plugs into this. We just fill in our own values based on like the spreadsheets and stuff that you showed on SCL last week, and so we can still build missions without having to wait for it. And then when it's ready, plug right in. What happens to the hauling mission that nobody takes? That's a good question. I like
Elliot?
that question.
You want to answer that? I think
mean,
there's a
it can.
timeout, right?
Yeah. So missions as they currently are, they generate based on eligibility and then they stay around for an amount of time. So if there's a cargo hauling mission, it will stay around for, I don't know, like maybe 30 minutes. And if no one accepts it, it shuts itself down and we'll try generate a new one. There might be changes to that are in the future, with maybe StarSim that Nick might want to talk about or might not want to, depending. But right now they just shut down and then they'll regenerate after a period of time.
So yeah, what missions are available and what opportunities they present to players is a balance that we're going to have to judge as we go with StarSim, because it is a hybrid economy, and that means that player-driven is really important. But we don't want parts of the universe to be abandoned or to lack input if there aren't enough players there. So it will be player driven, but it will be system maintained.
Gotcha. I feel like the timer question was probably a question more for Yorit. Yeah, Yorit couldn't join us here this week. He had a well-deserved and well-scheduled vacation this week. So when we had to reschedule last week's show, it was really disappointing that he wasn't going to be able to do this. But we didn't want to wait any longer. So
I mean, I've got the data open. I can give you a time, but I don't want to because then everyone's going to hyper focus on. You said it'd take 13 minutes.
yeah. Oh my gosh, a number early in development that never
Could
changes.
you imagine? No.
You said, you know, while you were talking, I was imagining like us creating this terrible version of Clippy that shows up. Hey, you want to do a hauling mission? There's hauling missions available. Although that's sort of what those that toast that kept forever showing up. The center. We fixed that in 3.23, didn't we? The constant thing that.
No, that's on my team to fix, and I'm trying to make cargo work, Jared. Right? The constant pop-ups are like down here for me. I had missions that don't complete, man.
That's right. That's right. We do have a Clippy. It's just not nearly as entertaining. There really is no difference between the pre-recorded and the live shows. We just go. Will we get
back,
missions
chat.
in landing
Sorry
zones?
about that.
Yes, and yes and no. Yes in the future, no right now. The performance isn't great in landing zones, as I'm sure many players are aware right now. We used to have some missions that were in landing zones for those veterans who can remember.
3.2.
Or if people, yeah, like in like 3.2. I'm sure Salty Mike will be sat there going, I remember that, and start moaning about something else. Yes, we used to have them, but they used to take like 5 minutes to spawn, and that's because the server is like a box gets put in a spawn queue, and then if people are doing stuff like I'm trying to buy some, I'm trying to spawn my 890 jump or whatever, the box is kind of like a lower priority, so they took ages, and it was just a really bad player experience, so we turned them off for the time being. But when performance at landing zones is improved, and we have, you know, a bit more stability there, by all means, because, you know, the hopeful idea would be that you wake up in a landing zone and have things to do, so it makes it feel like that landing zone's alive and you've got things to do, you know, and pick up this trash, deliver someone's pizza, things like that.
No, here, this next one's not a question either.
Yeah,
Just
no
a statement.
problem,
It says,
Brogger.
auto loading times are broken.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, we know.
Cheers.
Sorry about that. No, the reason is because in order to make them more reflective of how we actually want them, we actually need some more development on them, and everybody is very busy. So it is a priority, and hopefully coming soon, TM. But we had to get something to work in a tier 0 so that we could at least get the hauling missions out, and we will be working on fixing that as soon as resources available to fix that. But it is actually worth noting, just from a time calculation point of view,
Good morning,
that
Drop
the,
Bear. How are
times
you
when you're
today?
calculating the reward on the hauling missions don't use the auto-loading
I think
times, they
they're
use the
talking
manual loading
about
times, except for the
making
hull C,
missions 2 of 2.
because that is always
How are
auto-loading.
you today?
Um,
I saw you pop into chat.
Speaking
How are you today?
of, we're going to get into a little section here talking about the effort versus reward and stuff. Well, as we talked about in SCL, as we talked about in ISC yesterday, there's lots of these missions that are chained to link from one location to another location to another location, stuff like this. This question is, why not simply use a big enormous C2 Hercules and chain all of the small missions? Why would we ever use a smaller medium ship at all?
From a mission design point, you can. Like, this isn't something I want to limit. I want you to choose, back in it was way ago, but back when we used to have the old delivery system where you could chain your own cargo missions together, that was exactly the point. Players could have this huge ship and take quite a lot of small jumps and then go, oh, this one goes to this location, and then I have a pickup from there and it goes back over here, and I can make my own round delivery loop
What's with all the flickery
from
stuff
just
in
reading
the
contracts
studio?
and understanding where everything is locality wise. I know that this outpost is right next to this outpost, so I'll drop off here and I'll do a quick hop, grab it, and make my time more efficient. But I'm sure Nick might have some other reasons as to why not. It's not the most efficient route. You're wasting your time.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Obviously, not only can you do it, but you definitely should be doing it. The question isn't so much whether you should or shouldn't be using a C2. Why would I ever use a small or a medium ship? Maybe that's all you have. Maybe you only have a small
Yeah,
or
a lot
medium
of people
ship.
have
Not
small to medium
everyone
ships.
has C2s like Salty Mike.
A
So
lot of people. That is a
if
good
you only
point.
have a small or a medium ship,
What's with all the
then
photos?
we wanted to make sure that you
bullshit
still
in
had
the
access to the
background.
hauling gameplay.
Don't you agree, Brogger?
The other thing to
a
bear in
lot
mind,
of people
course, is
have
that
the
there
small
are
to
only so
medium
many
ships.
of each type of mission in each part of space. So if you are in a very traffic part of space and there are more people who are doing hauling and they have smaller or medium ships, they may have taken all of those smaller media-sized contracts. So there may be one or two you could grab, but you aren't going to be able to fill a whole C2 with
Cutlass
them if you're
size
in a
for
heavily
ships is
traffic
very
part of space
popular.
where everyone else is scrabbling over those same missions.
Well,
And
I'm
then, of
just
course,
saying,
there
for
are
single
the
people
more
who want to test their
economy-based
skills,
answers. So
medium's
can you
about
make an
as big
efficient
as they
delivery
get.
route?
Yeah.
If you have to go back and forth and back and out of atmosphere and back up again, and you have to sometimes quantum, sometimes you're using hydrogen, fuel costs alone might make it not economically viable to do 8 different
But yeah, I
small
get
missions
your
when you could just do
point,
2 medium or 2 large ones.
Also, depending on where
And-
you're going, a C2 is a really big target. If you're seeing a C2 fly between, big commerce areas, people are going to start to figure out that that's what folks are doing, and those become bigger targets. And imagine having to losing not just one mission's worth of
The
cargo,
Not
but
So
4
Live, so this
simultaneous
was
missions worth
last
of cargo to
week's.
4 different providers.
I feel slightly
Absolutely,
offended.
that is a really good point. I mean, imagine there is a trade lane, a small trade lane, which is traditionally nomads and maybe cutlasses or whatever Halays are hauling this lane, and maybe there is a pirate.
Hey,
lurking.
Jim, are
If
you
he sees a C2,
around?
or they see a C2,
I wish I could
which one are they
update
gonna
you,
go for?
man.
the Titan or the C2? So there are considerations,
Yeah.
but by all means, take multiple missions. Be as efficient as you can.
And the rep hit to that, like if you do get caught out, like that's 4 missions that are gonna fail, and you get a rep hit times 4. Yeah, you might have a bit where it's like, right, I can't play cargo missions for the next hour or so.
Gotcha. All right, no, it's good. It's like anything else. There's options. What's Johnny doing? Hold on. Go back to Johnny.
He was Johnny. Come here.
Uh-oh.
Jared's asking questions about you.
Oh.
I'm on
Hello?
SCL.
Oh, sorry. Right.
No, it's good. No, it's fine.
Runs away. Runs away.
All right. So yeah.
I know SCL's Friday. It's Jared. It's unreliable, right? Yeah, he's doing it before. He's got I don't know.
I have a thing that I'm supposed to be doing on Friday.
Uh-huh.
We're here officially in the EVR phase here. We mentioned it first
That
on
was funny,
on
Brogger.
SEL a
He's
couple
like,
weeks
nope,
ago.
I'm not going to be on
It came
camera.
up again on
Bye.
ISE yesterday. This is not a new concept. This effort versus reward.
was
I would
kinda
hesitate
funny,
to
chat. That
say
needs to be
would
a
not hesitate to
meme.
say that just about every video game that's ever
I'm sorry.
been made involves some kind of
That
effort
needs
versus
to be a
reward
meme
calculation.
so bad.
Why
Somebody
is
flip
this?
that. Yeah, poor guy.
Why is this new to us? Why are we talking about it now? For the people who've chosen not to watch the other things, give us a
That
cap of
poor
why it's important.
dude.
Yeah,
He's like,
absolutely.
I'm just
it's not-
going to
this
get
is not,
something to
proprietary
eat.
Tech. This
I
is
don't wanna
the
talk
way
to
that
anybody
you would,
today.
approach how to balance the
I'm going down to the
player's
food court
activities
to
versus
see
the
what there
reward
is
that they
to
should be given
eat.
in any game. I mean,
Right?
if Star Citizen were a traditional single-player game and we just had characters with levels, then it would be relatively
was
easy to
too
work out
funny,
how much gold we should give
Roger.
you, depending whether you're a level 12 or 1150, 1170, or whatever it is. But because Star
Can we
Citizen
also talk
is
about
not
their
only an MMO of a
cubicles?
very large
These
scale,
are some very neat cubicles.
but
in
we
the
also
background.
have a mixture of structured
Oh,
missions
it's two
and sandbox
levels.
gameplay.
Look at this. There's an
Um,
elevator,
and we don't have a
escalator, or
traditional
something
leveling
back here.
system per se, then EVR, which is for people who didn't see the SCL or the ISC, it's effort versus reward. So it's basically time and difficulty on one side of the equation. How long it takes you to do something, how difficult it is to do it, will always be equivalent to the amount of reward that you will get for the time and the difficulty. So that could be UEC, that could be reputation, that could be the amount of loot in an area. And it allows us just to balance the universe, whether that's a mission or an area like a distribution center, or a
I
sandbox
wonder if there'll be
gameplay, like
regional
Piracy, for
reputation.
example.
He just
It's
mentioned
really
it.
important that people doing any
He
kind
had
of
just
activity feel
mentioned
that
it,
they are
Roger.
receiving
You know, like
appropriate
if
reward
you
for
don't
the
have
effort they're putting
you
in.
don't
That's
even have
part of what makes
reputation over a whole
the game
town
fun.
or planet anymore.
So
But like towns on a planet, you have
Jared
to
actually
build
had a
up. That way you
brilliant,
can
description
get
of it in
planetary
the last SCL,
reputation.
a par
You
for the
get what I'm
course.
saying?
It's not the final number. It's
It's
a
sounding
design
like that's
discussion,
what they're
and
going
it
toward.
creates an expectation for what the reward level should be for the player activity. And there are additional factors that we need to consider, like, for example, how do you handle the risk of players stealing the cargo that are given to them in the hauling missions? So when we're designing the hauling missions and the reward for that, we have to consider what to do about that. And that isn't directly a question that's answered by EVR. It's a question that has to be answered by design around the mission design. And all of these conversations happen with the mission designers and the economy. We work really closely together so that we can apply it to all of the different behaviors, all the different activities across the
Part
game.
of the conversation that we have is Nick's tool will generate this value that we look at, and then on the design side, it's not exactly that we know the numbers and we know all of the economy, so we know how it fits and we know it balances. We can just go as simply as this doesn't feel like it's enough, or this feels like it might be too much. And then from there, we have a conversation on what part of it and why, and then we rebalance from that. And we've done multiple passes, like even since everyone saw the SCL, me and Nick have sat together a few times and we've gone over the sheet that balances every single mission, and sort of gone over how it feels and giving some more information, you know, been like, right, this one's insane, right? Because it takes into account you get a
Yeah,
crime stat,
sorry.
and then if you get a crime stat
Please don't
inherently,
leave.
you
I
either go to
like
prison and serve
Brogger.
time off,
Brogger,
or
good
you have to
friend.
go
Stay.
to Korea, do your hacking, people will come kill you, PvP, you've got all the AI there to battle against, and then because of that, you know, it's like, right, well,
Oh, okay.
every
Never mind.
illegal
I
mission
understand what
baseline
you're
should
saying.
have this value,
You have
and then
stuff
anything
going on
that's
at the house.
extra gets put on top of it.
I gotcha.
So it's not like a cold and unfeeling system. It's something that is nurtured with love.
And like
And
anything.
the advantage,
Okay.
sorry,
Go ahead.
the advantage is that because it's a combination of maths and design, then we can make bespoke decisions as we need to, but fundamentally
You have a
underneath it
good
all,
day,
there is an
Brogger.
algorithm. So in the future, when StarSim, when a system is making these decisions in a more algorithmic way, the entire system can be balanced at once and then tweaked and designed accordingly, which is a really important place for us to be when it comes to balancing an entire universe.
Yeah, I'm certain that there were people who looked at the information from the last SCL and did some maths and was like, it's going to take 107 days to earn an 890 jump at that kind of payout and stuff. We just want to reiterate again that every aspect of Star Citizen is still a work in progress. We're in alpha. We're going to try some stuff, and then we're going to try some other stuff, and we're going to try some other stuff. It's even Master Modes has some changes coming down the road, which we'll talk about in a bit. Don't get too excited. It's just more evolution. We try a thing, we listen, we try another thing. You can say a lot of things about Star Citizen. I don't think anybody can't say we're afraid of trying new things and afraid of taking a different direction after we try something. So I just want to caution you again, when you see these numbers, even when 324 goes out, and it's out, when you see those numbers on those days, that's the number then. And we will continue to review, we will continue to discuss, we will continue to iterate. So feedback always. Doom and gloom, the sky is falling, less helpful.
Yeah, and I mean on that point, to the hundreds of days point, if you were to take the numbers of the early missions, and let's say at the moment we're imagining those numbers are around the 20k per hour, for example, but like Jared says, these numbers change, and then you just did a straight times this by that, what's an 890 jump, then you're getting hundreds of days or whatever. Okay, but you're not going to be doing those missions. Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, we're an MMO, so we're not like a 40-hour game that you finish in 3 weeks. But even so, this is not a linear scale. This is a curved scale. The whole point of it is, the further you climb up that scale, the more rapidly you accelerate, the more rapidly you make more. That's not only to reward players for their progression through the system, but it's also to account for the fact that an extremely difficult environment is going to require multiplayer. It's not going to be soloable. So it can't just be the case that I get this reward when I do an easy one and I get this reward when I do a difficult one. It needs to be one person gets this reward when they do an easy one, and 3 people get this reward when they do a hard one, split up between them. And you still progress that way. But it's not a straight line. It's quite a curve.
There you go. What do you say to, so obviously, those are those calculations. We talked a bit about how we calculate effort, and how hard it is in something. What about time? Time is another factor. I saw comments of people that said that were saying that you're not factoring all that time of walking through stations, of having to buy food and water, of having to set a destination on the map, the time it takes to open the hangar doors, the multiple times you die in the elevator. How are the time discussions going versus the effort? I mean,
for the first part, I know Nick's got his answer to it. Is, in the real world, if you're a hauler, you have your vehicle and you get your petrol paid for. The time it takes you to get there is your own time, right? And if you take longer than necessary, it won't be worth, because it's like, oh, this is meant to be a 2-hour haul, but instead I stopped off and had a meal, so it's actually a 4-hour. That's on you. For example, when I'm working here, they pay me from the second I'm sat at my desk to the time when I finished at my desk. They don't pay me for my walk in. They don't pay me for my stop at Mackie D's for me breakfast. So for me, it's there are bits we'll pull in to the payout that make sense, but there are also bits that just don't make sense. And I'm sure Nick will have more of a elegant.
No, actually, no, sorry, Jared, go.
No, I said let's hope.
I mean, one big difference here is why I'm not elegant is I'm from the north and Nick's from the south.
I am not from the south. I was born in Scotland.
No, you wasn't.
I was.
Not got the accent for it.
You know what? You can't judge a person by their accent. That's a saying, right? Anyway, I was gonna actually reply this more from a design point of view as opposed to just a cold numbers point of view. Star Citizen, like any game, you can play it as a min-maxer. You can play it as I want to make absolutely the most I possibly can. I want the best reward. I want everything in every minute of every day.
Looked like Jared was
aren't I
about to
getting the best thing I
explode
possibly
at the
can?
moment.
But we're building an
Yeah.
immersive universe here. If you want to spend time walking around the station, buying your food, getting your burritos, doing your stuff, you shouldn't feel guilty that you're somehow not earning enough. You're going to take your missions, you're going to do your sandbox gameplay, you're going to get a fair reward for it because of EVR and because of the ongoing balance and because of the feedback and the fact that we work with the community to make this happen. Wow, JJ is loud. And and if you want to just chill and not earn money every second that you are playing the game because it's a game, go for it.
Elliot,
Yo.
what breakfast do you get at
I
McDonald's?
would be playing the actual
it
game
depends.
this
It depends.
afternoon,
It depends what
folks.
day it is.
But I have a meeting
I'll sometimes
IRL,
get like
so
2
won't
sausage
be
and egg
happening
muffins,
today.
and maybe a cheesy bacon flatbread. But it's only on certain days. I don't do it every time.
Do you put the hash brown in the sausage and egg McMuffin?
I don't.
It
like
makes me
hash
kind of
browns.
sad.
Yeah, but you put them in the sandwich. I don't like eating them alone either, but you put them in the sandwich. It dramatically changes the
Them
sandwich.
across McDonald's. I don't touch that. I've had a hash brown before in a sandwich, in one of those.
Hello,
but it's just
YouTube
not. It's not for me.
watcher.
I don't know.
How are you today? Hopefully
know.
good.
Don't judge me. I mean, if you're gonna judge me for anything, it's the 2 double sausage and egg McMuffins. That's what I should be
No,
judged for.
I eat the 2 double sausage and muffins, which usually you get the meal, and then it comes with a hash brown, and then you add another hash brown, and then you just get the second one solo. You get the second one solo. It's actually like 40 cents or pence or whatever the heck you call the little ones here, cheaper than ordering 2 meals.
Yeah, it's pennies, pence.
yeah.
All right, well, next time I'll get the hash browns and I'll bring them to you. You can have my hash browns.
Well, no, I can't have them anymore.
Oh my God.
I'm not allowed to have sugar or carbs.
They go in the bin then.
And that's the show for this. No, I'm just kidding. We'll tack it on at the end. That wasn't lost time. That was me time. Nerfing mission payouts, e.g. salvage missions, and why do hauling missions pay so little compared to other things I can do to earn UEC?
Yeah, Nick. Why
So-
get fun out of everything.
Isn't this Connor? Isn't this Connor who's going out and nerfing all the missions?
They're all one.
It's a combination. It's a
bubble
combination.
of-
Just tell him
It's the
Connor.
whole of the
Designers.
economy team.
He's
we're
not
all
here. He can't
responsible.
defend himself. Just tell him it's Connor.
Yeah, it's Connor. Yeah, it is Connor. It is literally. It's Connor for Jumptown. Connor for all commodities. It's Connor for everything.
I'm going to have to stick up for my esteemed colleague Connor here.
Go right
Connor
ahead.
is commodities. Connor is commodities and those kinds of things, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Thank you, Mr. Maltby.
I never said he didn't. I just said it was him. He's responsible.
Connor, we love you. You can get him when you come over.
Okay, so what do we have to say about nerfing of these mission payouts?
So we're in a strange situation right now where we have hundreds, in fact, we have thousands of missions, and in order to get them all into the balance with EVR, there's quite a substantial amount of manual work that needs to be done, and that is ongoing. So you're experiencing at the moment. Some of the missions are in the new system in EVR, and some of the missions are still with the original designed rewards, which were kind of put in by whichever designer put those in at the time. When everything is rebalanced to EVR, then there will be a new
Reality.
normal, if you like. Yeah, a new reality. But it's not doom and gloom. You've just only seen certain parts of it. So, for example, the hard retrieve consignment missions. What are those called, Elliot? That's a great name in Dataforge.
Retrieve consignment. They are the missions where you go to a UGF and there's a box dispenser. You have to find a code from a body, enter it into a terminal, and it pumps up random commodities that you can sell. And you're looking for a a confidential item that you then have to deliver. That's what those ones are. I can't remember the narrative name because it's got a few variants, but that's what you do in the mission.
Right. So the original reward on those was set by the designer, but they didn't perhaps understand quite how long those missions would take, because EVR is time and difficulty.
Throw me under the bus.
Okay. The original designer was only slightly out, but EVR takes into account the time, and so we have that data now, and so they're getting a bump. They're getting about a 50% bump, and the multi-3 and the multi-4 hauling missions, they're like up in the hundreds per hour. And the illegal missions, like Elliot was saying, because they are additionally complex with the crime stat, and the difficulty in those is always higher, so they're going to be have a bump. And those crazy, very, very low-paying missions, for example, the box delivery missions, they're getting a bump as well because they take a certain amount of time more than perhaps they originally thought. So it's not all
This
doom
is
and gloom,
good,
but it will
chat.
be
Really
a new
good.
normal, and we will listen to all the feedback and balance everything so it's rewarding.
But it's not
Don't worry.
all happening in 324.
Absolutely not. No. This is very much ongoing work.
Can I ask a question I kind of feel like I have to ask?
Shoot.
Why not wait until every mission has been rebalanced to do this change? Why create the inequity for any period of
Because-
time?
Yeah, that is a very fair question. Because the longer we waited to put this tech into any mission, we'd basically be adding to the old way of doing things
backlog.
instead of a backlog, instead of moving on to the new way. So the entire mission system is being refactored now, and EVR is a part of that refactor. So new stuff is coming out with EVR. Recent stuff is being addressed. Older stuff is going to be addressed.
Okay. Don't lower mission rewards and higher prices mean grind? Do we want grind?
Yes.
We we want an MMO. We want gameplay. We want opportunity. We want years of Star Citizen. We don't want 40 to 60 hours. I got an 890 jump. I'm done. I'm going to go and play.
We want, like, you feel more connected to things that you've had to put more time into getting. There's other MMOs where you do raids that take absolutely hours, and the rewards you get from them feel even better because of the effort you put into it. And it is effort versus reward, right? The grind is a part of the effort, and your reward is how an item makes you feel. There's a really popular community event we did a while ago, which was kill 50 players and you get a Vandal mask. That Vandal mask means something to those players because they put in that time, they put in that effort. The ones who actually did it, not the ones who just like had all their mates on a server and just killed them. Like the people who put in the grind, it means more to them. And it's the same thing that we've been going forward with some of our other events where we've been giving you a set of armor that shows that you've done a bunch of stuff for it. It feels more rewarding to you as the player. And that's what a lot
And
of
I
MMOs
like
do.
that
You know,
kind
you put
of
in time, you
stuff.
put in effort, and you have something to show for it. I can't tell you how many times JJ sits next to me, has loaded up World of Warcraft and shown me all of his accounts.
I was
at
going to
high
say
level.
that's horse shit because I never got Alice Strazer. And so like everything that you're saying right now, I'm like, no, I never got Alice Strazer. I never got that damn Firebird. So it's all, that only works if I get it. If I don't get it.
You'll get it. You'll get it. You just
Eventually.
need to join the right people to boost you.
No. I had to leave that. That was a decade and a half was enough of that. I gave up. But yeah, I think the point is taken. One of the weird challenges that are unique to Star Citizen is that we're running a live environment in the middle of our development. So in the development of any game, many things will start easy and then become hard. Some things will start hard and become easy. It's this continuous sculpting and reverse sculpting. And most of this is done in secret. Most of this is done in private in any other game. By the time they open it up to the players, they're well along, and a lot of those big sweeping changes have been done. we have this continuous thing where, because we've run a live game environment since late 2015, November, December 2015, to this day
Thank
here,
you for the
it's-
follow over on the green
these growing
platform.
pains are
Appreciate it.
experienced not just by us, which is normal, but by our players, which is not.
Very much appreciated over there.
Players who have played a long time, players who have played a tremendous amount, can get used to things being a certain way. And when we change, that almost never feels good. Whether it's a good change or it's not is a whole nother discussion. It's just when you become used to something, when you've been accommodated to it, when you decided you like it, and then it changes, that can cause consternation. We see that with everything from master modes to these economy changes and everything else between. That's not the same as saying that the feedback is not valid. I want to be real clear with that. Feedback's valid. Some of these changes are going to be too sweeping. Some of these cuts are going to be too much. Some of these bumps are going to be too much. Some of the things we did for master modes, like hover mode stuff, are going to be right where we want them, and some aren't. And we're going to keep tweaking and stuff like this. This is all of Star Citizen's game development, but it is a. Yeah, I'm sorry.
If you're there, can you say something in chat? I'm watching.
I see it from everybody.
Say hello or something. I would really appreciate it.
You struggle with this, and it's it's unfortunate, and but it's normal. It's a part of our process here, and it comes part and parcel with running a live game environment in the middle of our development. So as always, we just encourage you to be patient with us, to help us. To keep testing, to keep giving us feedback. Like I said before, the doom and gloom stuff doesn't help so much. The hey, this could be more like
Jim
this, and
on Red Platform.
That's
how are you?
Stuff. So yeah, what do you want to say, Elliot?
It's just something to add is like
Hey,
we're very
man,
much
how's
aware.
up?
Obviously,
Hey,
as Jared says, we're
you're
being
just
live
the man I
service,
wanted to
and when we
talk
talk
to.
about being an MMO and grind.
Your
the reactions we
donation
get, we
was
understand
greatly appreciated
why,
to
for
the
most of them.
channel. It's been used. I've already ordered
we're
the
making
boom
a
arm
grindy
for my
environment for something that we
microphone.
constantly reset
It
and wipe
should be
as it is
here
currently. And that obviously
probably
isn't fun because you're
tomorrow
not getting that long-term reward out of
afternoon.
the effort you put in. But
As soon as
eventually, when we're
as
closer
soon
to done,
as the delivery
you will,
truck
because
gets here,
we'll have
I might do an
solidified a lot more of
unboxing
this.
and
So therefore,
assembly
the grind
thing,
and the wipe will go, so that you can put in the effort and get the effort out. I understand right now that it
just so
won't be
everyone
as fun
knows,
to
on
put,
every channel,
you know,
Jim
80
did the
hours
first
into
donation on
getting
the
some
channel.
up there in the hauling things, just to
The big
next
channel?
patch find out that we need to wipe because of a bug
Or,
or because we're
The
balancing.
first big
It's part and
donation on the
parcel of just
channel.
having
Everyone
to lay
give
the
him
tracks
a
while we're still
clap.
running the train down it.
Or round of
Although I want
applause.
to add to what Elliot says. I've had a dozen
He really
conversations
helped me
with,
out.
Rich Tyler.
I'm getting a
about
new
this
boom
topic here.
arm for my
And I was like, why am I looking at
microphone.
Elliot?
That way people aren't staring at my
and
nose.
We want to try to
That way it can
avoid
be more
as
like
many
this.
wipes as possible. That's always this.
Yeah.
That's always the other thing. It's people don't want to invest time. People don't want to invest effort, knowing this thing is going to wipe. It is our intention from this point forward to not wipe for anything or anything. That's not the same as saying that we're not going to. Now, I want to be real clear, because every time we say what we want to do and then something changes, people are like, CIG promised. No, we told you what we wanted to do. What we want to do from this point forward is we want to try to avoid any wipe. If we have to wipe from this point forward, it'll be something severe. It'll be something that we've all come together and said there's just no other way forward. And so that is still a possibility. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's not. But the intention from everyone at every single level is to do every single thing we can from this point forward to avoid any more wipes. So.
And of course, there are some other things which are very important pieces of functionality which we haven't got to yet, which will, like Elliot was saying, you'll be able to enjoy your progress and your status that you've earned over all those
So
hours.
did you
And it
have
will
a
become
good
even
night,
more
Jim?
meaningful with Death of a Spaceman, where it'll bring a bit more
The most
consequence,
part?
more meaning to decisions you make,
I
and
trust.
server meshing where we'll bring more players together interacting in the
Yeah,
same
and I'm
place,
hoping
which is
for
going to
that.
bring
What he
a
just
lot more
talked
life
about.
and collaboration to
Right now,
decisions
we
you
only
make.
have
And
100
StarSim
people
in
in
the
game.
background makes the universe dynamic around you. So at the moment, it might feel like it's a grind and
Uh-oh,
it's
we
Groundhog
got a
Day,
bot.
but we're building for the future.
Elliot, you mentioned earlier about, as these missions get harder and harder
Bot
and
alert,
stuff,
bot alert.
wanting to have more players, other people to help you. Let's talk about security. So it's while loading and unloading, and then
Greetings.
while flying through trade lanes and stuff like this. Talk to me about security while loading and unloading. Is this
Feel like summer.
is this
copyright-free music?
you have to get friends, or are there other things we're looking at here?
Who are you?
There'll be areas where you're safe, and there'll be
Hey,
areas where
thanks
you're
for
not.
the
Places that you have arms,
suggestion.
discards, and green zones, you'll be very safe in.
For
But
copyright-free
ones where
music?
you don't, you won't be. That's the intention, right?
You
It's-
prefer
say
MQ or
it's
Muhammad
gonna be an
MQ?
experience you have in Pyro when you're trying to do these sorts of
Appreciate the
missions, unprotected.
suggestion.
Like if I go to an
Might
outpost
look
that has
at
a
it.
freight elevator
Thanks,
that doesn't
man.
have a green zone, I need to be aware of it.
Normally,
and I
I
need to be ready
don't
to defend
like,
myself. Whether it's I leave people in the turrets
stuff
of my
like
ship while I
that,
load,
but, you
whether
know.
I hire myself an escort by talking in chat and trying to get some people that I don't know or do know to help me out. There's meant to be some risk, and that
I
risk
have
is
been wanting
calculated
to
when we do
spice
the
some
reward. Like we
things
know
up,
the
you know what
location
I
we're sending
mean?
you to, we know all this sort of stuff, so that risk is inherently calculated. But no, I'm not here to
In the
hold
background,
everyone's
at
hand through
least.
the unloading and loading process and make it all safe. There will be obviously things to aid you, like I believe
If you're still
currently
there.
if you try to steal
I mean,
a box, say I call up a freight elevator with my cargo on, and Nick, who I don't know, tries to take it off, they should get a crime. Like there'll be a way in the legal system for us to defend, and to allow you to sort of enact justice yourself legally without consequence.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, obviously where you operate is important. Like there's the green zone and stuff, but even in a place like Pyro that doesn't have
Yeah,
any,
no worries.
Green zones per se.
No worries, Jim. It's all good.
You can align
I had
yourself
somebody
with one of the
suggest some
factions there, and if you're aligned with
copyright-free
the citizens
music
of prosperity,
in the
and you're doing your loading
background
there,
of my,
you'll have a certain amount of protection from the folks there.
one of my other
but if you're aligned with citizens of
platform
prosperity, you try to go
streams,
to one of the
maybe
headhunters
I'll check
trading
into it.
posts and try to load up there. You're going to have a worse time.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's these decisions are part and parcel of the process. And even without green zones, there will still be places for everyone based on your decisions, the decisions you make for your character to, okay, this is less risky and this is more risky. The choice is yours.
Yeah. It goes into, doing like in real life when they do shipping lanes. If they know that they're going to go through pirate infested waters, there are mercenaries on board to defend against it, and that should be the same thing. Like the players will, if they want to do these missions, that at some point they'll have to adapt and understand that, oh, this location I know of because it doesn't have a green zone. That means that this portion of the mission I'm safe, but as soon as I'm getting close to this location, I need to be prepared for anything, right? And it will be something that comes with the player's knowledge, and then building their game knowledge is they'll understand that this location isn't safe for me. I need to make sure I've got protection.
And while we have some version of it now, with these new missions that are designed to link to go from this place to that place to that place, natural trade lanes are going to start to form.
Yep.
As server meshing comes online, and we begin to increase the number of players, and these natural trade lanes will start to harden, and will start to solidify, and you'll start to see more and more ships. That will create a lot of interesting opportunities for players on both sides of the moral compass for protection and for
Yeah, of course it will.
piracy.
Absolutely, and in the long term, the very long term, when there is a system of a broader system of law across the various solar systems that is being managed, so the original quantum demonstration that Tony gave us shows how different action areas can be.
Yeah, I was
be spawned in
actually
response
saying
to
that
different,
to somebody else,
types of
Jim.
activity in an
I had
area.
a
If there are a lot
spammer
of
show
pirates,
up on
then
one of my
there's a security
streaming
response. If
channels.
there's,
I had to tell them
and
no,
that could
thank
be
you.
player driven, or it could be system driven.
Last few questions we have are kind of
Absolutely
tangential to hauling
despise
missions, the more
spammers.
other profession stuff, but let's see if we can squeeze them in. Elliot, for miners, will there be missions to sell what we mine to something like the distribution centers, so that they can then be hauled away with other hauling missions?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, this is the resource gathering type missions, so we will have missions that require them. It says, I know the question is, do miners, like you can steal those goods, you could buy them from somewhere it's really cheap and bring them over, or you can mine them. It's a choice that I want to give the players, so you can choose whatever gameplay you are interested in for this mission. But yeah, we're going to have missions where you have to bring resources to a location, and then naturally that location would then take those resources, produce something, and then another location would then consume what that location produces, and that makes the what do you call it,
Yeah,
the hauling
60%
sort of
are
mission.
server
Currently, our hauling
issues.
missions are very
I'll
static.
admit
They're not
that.
reactive based on the location's
If they
inventory
can
amount.
get
That's
the
something
server
that
issues
is something
fixed,
more
then
on
we
the
can
side
worry
of like
about a lot of
Starsim,
other stuff.
because it that will keep track of sort of things like that, so it knows what to generate and whatnot.
This question just says, express delivery missions, please.
Yeah. Again, it goes with the type of cargo that you're hauling. We will also have like express hauling requests. So these will just be missions where, you know, maybe a company's like, we've got an order on from another company to make this many sort of shield plating for this ship, but we've run out of, you know, tungsten or something. We need a quick delivery of it so we can meet our quota and we don't get punished by violating our contract. You know, these sorts of contracts that require you to bring something ASAP to a location will, and these ones will be possibly a bit more unique because they will skip the trade routes that we're setting up with this logistical network, because they are a demand right now. So there'll be a route which is your quickest route to take, rather than, you know, from a distribution center that makes them to the LEO, then the LEO to the like Lagrange point, and the Lagrange point to the jump point. You know, it will skip that flow, and it might just be get it from Pyro straight to the jump point, straight to the delivery location. So yes, we will have express hauling contracts eventually.
Why has it taken so long to get these hauling missions into game?
Server bullshit,
People are
maybe?
asking me today. It's we don't want to do a half job, right? For the longest time, our cargo just appeared on our ship,
Brian
right?
and Jim
then you take
both
it from A to B,
today.
and it's-
Wonderful.
We wanted more of an involved gameplay loop, so we
I get
chose
the
to put them on
Brothers
the
of
back burner until the
Destruction,
tech was
Mutual
ready, and
Assured
focus on other things that
Destruction today.
we thought would be more fun.
That's funny.
I play a lot of hauling games like Euro Truck Simulator and Death Stranding, so it's kind of something that I take like quite personally, that I want to ensure that I've got the best experience for the people who like the games that I play, because that for me wouldn't have been fun. So we wanted to wait for the fundamental tech that actually was how we want this system to work, so that we could do these sorts of missions.
Those are the two types
Honestly,
of games.
they've been
Euro Truck
also
Simulator,
cleaning up a
Death
lot of
Stranding.
bad code,
Everything
gentlemen.
else falls in between.
I'm not saying that's an excuse, but yeah.
What do freight elevators mean for the future of missions?
They mean
A
quite
lot more
It's-
trouble.
You know, we can do a lot more now we have them. Now we have this sort of thought out structure of how we retrieve stuff. Like I can give you missions where you have to deliver vehicles. I can give you missions where you have to go to a freight elevator to collect a part. You know, maybe we do a repair mission, and it's like, where we'll put a bunch of the repair stuff in the hangar, in this like location. You've got access to it. Go pick it up and then bring it to the mission to sort of deem it. I could do a mission where I make you do Tetris in an AI's hangar, where it's just, hey, load my ship up for me, and off you go, and you play Tetris. It gives me a lot of power.
A
It
legally
gives us a lot of
distinct
feedback.
version.
Yes, sorry.
The views and opinions of
Here
that
it's having a
represent those of
conniption
Planet Video
again.
Games, Robert Space Industries, or its subsidiaries.
I just watched the Tetris movie. That's why it was in my head. It was good.
It was good.
It's good. So yeah, I can do stuff like that. It gives me more opportunities to do it. There could be a mission where it's like, gear up for a raid. We've put all the gear in this location. call up Freight Elevator. Here's a box full of guns and masks and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah, I
else.
can organize people as if.
It unlocks a lot of possibilities for missions.
Nick, we only have time for one more question. It's not a question for you, but I want to. Are you there, Nick?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I want to let you ask Elliot the question for me.
Yeah. So
Ask him if he's ever going to
Yeah.
fix the box missions.
Elliot Maltby, lead
Tetris.
mission designer at Cloud
The only
Imperium
emulated
Games.
game that has more
on
copyright
behalf of the community, I was just wondering,
than anything else.
when are you going to fix box delivery missions? Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh no. Okay, I thought you were going to invade my space.
There's no such thing as box delivery missions. They're not broken. Anyone who says so is lying. No,
What?
the hauling update and the freight
What?
elevator update that came in allowed me to, if anyone remembers that very fun ISE I did on the delivery system, all of that stuff is gone, or will be gone, because we're turning it into a coded based system, so it's more robust. It still allows us to put our hooks in it on the design side when we're building logic, so I can still request things and tell it to do things and manipulate it in ways I
Breathe,
need
Brian.
to. But
It's
for
all
simple missions where
good. It's all
there's no
good,
extra
my
gameplay that you
friend.
start up in logic,
Breathe.
it's a lot better if it's a coded system. So
No more
alongside the
boxes.
freight
No,
elevator
they're
missions,
redoing them.
we have the ability now to do
So
the
that
box
they're
missions the
up-
same way.
I'm guessing it's some
so
old
instead
shit
of it using a
code,
logic system
guys.
which
I
can
mean, it's
sort of
such old
go a bit
code.
weird
They're
when a
having to
server's gone on a
redo
bit
it.
long,
So
or when it's
maybe
low
some
server frame rate,
serious
we can use more of a
back-end work.
coded system which makes it more stable. And it will be something that we look to refactor. I can't speak
Which I'm
to it
okay
as
with.
to
Those
when it'll all be
box
done, but we have
missions
started this work as it is.
terrible, and
So yes, box
they
missions.
didn't pay much.
If everyone who wants to still pick up 3 boxes and take them to a delivery locker or to a shelf, you guys will still have something to do, because that is a part of the courier gameplay, and it is still something we want. It's just, I'll get him working eventually.
Fair enough. Elliot, Nick, thank you for taking the time out of your Wednesday to be here on the show. Yes, if it wasn't clear this whole time, up here in the corner, it tells you this has been a pre-recorded episode of Star Citizen Live. Again, Elliot, Nick, thank you for taking the time to answer the questions. Community, thank you for the time to submit the questions. We hope you found the show interesting and informative. Alpha 324 is currently available for testing on the Evocati, the PTU, by the time this airs.
Which probably won't be
we'll
out.
help you get in there,
for
help us
another
kick the
week
tires,
or
light the
two.
fires, get this thing out, because we all really want it out. Not just cargo missions, not just Blockade Runner, which we talked about yesterday, a whole host of new changes to the personal persistent hangars, the freight elevators, basically just a complete overhaul of life in the verse for almost every just existing aspect of the game. So we're really
hit
excited
my
for this
foot.
in 324. We will be following up with Master of Chad's. I'm sorry, Master of Cargo. It's probably Master of Chad's. I mean, I'm not going to say he's not. I'll ask him. We're following up with Master of Cargo, Chad McKinney, on ISC in about 2 weeks. So not this next episode, the one after that. We'll basically, but before, I think we're going to do it. We're going to try. This isn't a promise either. This is one of the things we're going to try. We're going to try to do a calling all Chads. I'm inventing that right now. We're trying to do a calling. We're just going to put a bunch of these questions to Chad and have him address all of your concerns and find out what has changed, what's still the same, how it works for cargo and all these things in 324. That'll be ISC in 2 weeks, where we can also show you all these things working, which is why it'll be different than in SCL.
Hopefully Jared doesn't
will
get
be off
shut
next
down
week.
by Chris.
It's a scheduled
Hey,
hiatus in the show.
that's
We'll be
supposed
back
to be
the
for
following week.
Citizen
And then
Con.
next
Don't
week,
show that.
on ISC, a very special episode, an episode I've waited to do for a long time, with Alpha 4.0 approaching. It's time. We're calling this Inside Star Citizen Intro to Jump Points. It's basically everything you could possibly want to know about jump points. How they've changed since we've been talking about them forever. How they've
Did
evolved.
you hear that, guys?
they're
How
gonna
things
work,
have changed for
in
jump
4.0.
points.
The visuals will
Heard
still be
it
work in
first
progress,
here,
because they
chat.
always are on Inside Star Citizen. But basically, this will be your one-stop shop for everything you want to know about jump points. So check that out on ISC next week. But for
Next week.
SCL, I'm
have a
Jared.
funny feeling.
That was Elliot and Nick. That was Tom.
Bye.
On
Hey,
the keys.
Brian.
It's Pete on the
Next
people
week
talking.
will be
Thanks for watching.
Jump Point
And,
ISC.
yeah, tune
There
into
might
ISC
be
next week,
some
everybody.
juicy
Bye.
nuggets in
Bye.
how things have been worked on
He looks so
and
small
how things
behind
have changed since 2020.
Dare you? How dare? What are you talking about?
All right, stop recording.
Well, that was interesting, chat. Very interesting. It stopped recording. What is this 4.0 you talk about? Something that is made of myth and maybe something more. Yes. Yes, indeed. Something besmirched of myth and lore. Hang on, I'm gonna... Oops. There we go. And my ugly smug is back. Yay! I have returned from the banishment of the corner box. I have returned from the banishment of the corner box. Sorry about that. So, we learned earlier that a possible talk about 4.0 will be tomorrow or next week, I mean. You know what I think it is? You want to know really what I think it is, guys? And they can kill me, they can crucify me all they want. I think because of the reaction to everybody on that update earlier in the week. I mean, they got hemorrhaged earlier on this week because of people who were super angry with them. You know, because, oh yeah, we're going to have a roadmap roundup. Oh, joke's on you. We're not actually going to update anything, right? Yeah, I think they had something pre-recorded just in case that they were going to share later in the year, and they're going to go that. Normally, I don't think that negative, but man, yeah, Evo is not going so well from what I've heard, Jim. I've heard that too. But you know what? The important thing is, it's in Evo. No, thank you, sir. I have no need for an artist. Yep, I saw it. I already have somebody who's working on my stuff, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate your openness, but yeah, I already have somebody under consultation. That's my canned response, Jim. They don't like it, tough. You know. Yeah, I'm gonna here in a bit. I think there's a major holdup. They want to be able to focus extensively on server stuff for 4.0. That's my theory, Brian. You know what I mean? I don't think they want to work on all the server shit and instead work directly on, well, no. The server shit and the hangar shit all at once. Does that make sense? Why do it all at once when you can divide and conquer? I mean, sure, they could lump it all together, but then it would take even longer, you know? The fact that 324 is already in Evo, I think that's a good sign that it's going to get done. It may be a rough patch, but yeah, you guys are funny. It technically is the X patch, remember? They realized that this has to be worked on, you know? That's my theory, you know? They have to get this out of the way. That way they can concentrate on 4.0. And honestly, with 4.0, you have to concentrate on server shit. We should see a market improvement in server things for 4.0. Tell me I'm not wrong. We should. At least in theory, we should. Crossing your fingers, yeah. Baby steps. I agree, guys. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I would rather them focus on the jump points, pyro, and server meshing, which is already a full enough load without the excess of hangars, you know? Hangars and cargo stuff, probably they realized, oh yeah, this needs to be in first. That way it gets it out of the way. That way they can get server meshing done right. That's my theory. And I want them to get it done right. Because if they don't get it done right, a lot of people will leave. I'm not trying to scare people into CIG going away, but they are, it seems like they've figured out a cohesive way to get their act together in a way. At least to a degree, you know. Baby steps is right, Jim. I agree. Well, that's the thing. The cargo people are getting angry because all they've been doing is focusing on fighting. They put it off probably about as long as they could. And since it's a back end thing that probably works with Quanta, but they've never stated, that might be the reason why too. I have a little bit of a theory that that might be what's going on. You know, it's not just, oh yeah, it's just an extra thing. It could be that this system is tied to something else. And it simply can't wait, you know? I do wish. I hope we don't get to 423. That would be like 20 years from now. Although by that time we would have Nyx, Pyro, Magnus, Kano, most of the region near Stanton populated with systems. You get what I'm saying? It wouldn't just be Pyro and Stanton. The reason why they're so hell-bent on the server side is, guys, I have an informant. And this informant has told me some stuff I technically publicly can't say. But let's just say and allude to the fact that I know that there is the potential for us to have more than one solar system in the next few years. And when I say few years, they're saying, they told me a number. I'm not going to rattle off, but it's going to be under that number. I'm going to say 5. There's supposed to be more than 5 systems besides Stanton in the next 3 years. I don't know how, and I'm puzzled about it, but they didn't tell me the system's names. I'm assuming they're going to need to be near Pyro and Stanton, you know, like spokes on a wheel. But in order for that to work, you have to have working jump points, right? Right, Brian? Right, Jim? You have to have servers working for those multiple systems. Or in this case, multiple instances. Four point oh could be a very large patch. Or a long patch, I meant to say. Long patch. Like I said, for my friend's anonymity, I'm going to say nothing about what systems they are. Because, you know, I don't want them to get in trouble. And I'm actually highballing the number. But I do kind of know a few things. I can't say for their, you know, their ability to find out stuff. We will all find out some things they assured at CitizenCon. That's all they told me. What that means, don't know. But I'm hopeful we get some good news. Until then, I'm going to be waiting out 324. By the way, Brian and Jim, if you're still there, guys, I have a question for you guys. You think it's kind of odd that yeah, Titan says. Now that was shown, Brian. If you remember the weapon inside Star Citizen, they showed off Titan suit weapons. A Titan suit weapon. Remember? The Gatling gun looking thing? Remember that thing? Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah, hello stuff. What's going on, man, over on the Mean Green platform? How are you today? Well, that's what me and the boys over on Red platform are talking about. Brian, Stuff Central is another guy you should give a follow to. He's a friend of mine over on the Green Triangle platform. Anyways, he was asking for an ETA on what do you call it? 324? What's the consensus? I think it's probably Green Triangle boys, yeah. You know, honestly, I want to say it's going to be probably what do you call it? Name it for me. I'd say another couple of weeks before we see some market improvements. Unfortunately. You mean shake, rattle, and R. Let's see. Okay, so what I was going to say, yeah, they basically, oh, you got a temp job. Good for you. Stuff. Good job, man. It's been hard to find jobs this year. Stuff Central, have you signed up for my YouTube channel at all? Just a question. I didn't know if you had or not. I like people being able to follow me everywhere, you know, that way. I didn't know if you had or not. Yeah, unfortunately, it sucks not being able to have a good job right now. What did you find? What did you find for a temp job, if you don't mind me asking? Did you find something in cars, or you know, like work, like heavy duty work, construction, something? Oh, you have subbed over here. Okay, there you are. Didn't know. People knock Walmart. I wish I could do Walmart, but my back is injured, unfortunately. So working with an L4 herniated disc sucks. You know? That's the problem with me. That's the bad thing. I mean, I wish stocking in the back so you don't deal with Karens. That's a beautiful thing. Lovely. I hate Karens with a passion. With a purple passion. I'll put it that way. Oh, I should tell you guys, true story. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Let me tell you a true story, gentlemen. I used to work for Hideaway Pizza here in my hometown of here in Oklahoma. I one day I was doing my normal deep cleaning stuff, and all of a sudden I get shoved out of the way by somebody, and I at first think it's a coworker. And I go to say something, and I see some twit looking woman with a bad attitude who basically, she's not very pleasant looking, has that face that looks like something died under her nose. Does that make sense? You know the face, right? Anywho, I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, you're excused. I'm sorry? I'm sorry? Say, ma'am, did you not see the signage that says you're not supposed to be back here? He's like, yeah, so what? I'm telling, and I laid into her. I said, ma'am, I'm going to tell you this once. You need to get out of my back room. She said, make me. I'm like, oh, I have no problem making you. I say, the longer you stand here, the quicker it is for me to call the police and have you trespassed. You know what I mean, Brian and stuff? I was in no mood that day for bullshittery, right? This gal proceeds, get this, to reach her hand back to take a swing at me. And I'm thinking in my head, okay. No, I said it. You know what I said? I said, ma'am, so help me. You lay a finger on me, there'll be a problem. She had the audacity to say, it'll be my word against yours, and everyone will believe women over a man. It was so gross hearing somebody say that. So gross. You know? Well, to end my story, I pointed it up. I'm like, go ahead and hit me. Because it'll be all over camera. About the time she tries to cock it back, my manager comes out and says, I've been looking for you. And at first I thought she was talking to me. Nope, she was talking to the angry hornet with a attitude. Said, you need to get out of my back room and stop harassing my employees. She told her to get lost or she'd be trespassed. So she huffs off into the dining room, and I got paid $100 by my manager that day. She said, you need a little improvement, but honestly, if that were me, I would have clocked her. Because she was in my face, boys. In my face. She was this close. And I could smell what she ate. Yuck. It took everything in me to be customer service man, you know? Oh my gosh. I wanted to go to the gym across the street after work and punch a sandbag. Oh, Lord help me, I was so mad by the end of the day. And I almost went, yeah, it was just bonkers. Like I wrote, some people really suck, chat. They really do. Yeah, restraint is good stuff. You're right. I wasn't going to let her send me to jail. Nope. So how about yourself, stuff? You doing good? You haven't encountered any Karens yet on the job, have you? And honestly, where you work, they shouldn't be in your back room at all. I don't think they should be. They shouldn't be in your back room at all. That also reminds me of what's going on in my neighborhood right now. A lot of people don't know this. I am disabled up here. I have some mental disabilities, nothing crazy, you know, but I have things. I am a normal person. I had to work through stuff. I I have some insane people in my neighborhood, one of which basically ran off a poor man with Down syndrome just because he was sitting in the park. This lady moved in with her little girls, and I get it. Your little girls might be scared of some man who's disabled, but the man was clear across the city park, right? Like 700 feet from her yard's back fence in the city park, public property. So honestly, it's not her yard, not her fence line. She literally went full Karen on this older man, scared him, scared and harassed him, and his mother out in the park. I talked to some neighbors on the south side. They haven't been back in weeks. So my suggestion to you in chat is be nice. Please be a human being to your fellow man and woman and everyone you meet. Please treat people like people. Don't be a monster to people you don't understand. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't. Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping in, stuff. Yeah. I'm sorry about me going into my spiel about being nice to people. Sorry. I do appreciate, though, an active audience today. Nice. I I'm a very accommodating person, but ever since she started acting like this, I just started, distancing myself from her and her group of people, her family. She's also been harassing a couple of people in my neighborhood. Some little boys who are running up and down the street, yelling at them to stay out of her yard when they're right in the street. I was more worried about the boys. Neighborhood drama sucks sometimes. It's just annoying. I'm sure you guys on YouTube agree. Neighborhood drama can sometimes suck really bad. I'm going to be on about another 10, 20 minutes. Then I'm going to. My mom is sick tonight, so I'm having to help her out with some stuff. Unfortunately, if you're still there or stuff, I hope you're being paid pretty well for Walmart wherever you live, because I know in some places they don't pay great. Also, be careful when you're lifting things, because if you get hurt, it's going to be a long drive to a hospital, man. All right. Let me see something. I think everybody kind of booted. Hmm. All right. So what do you guys think of my theory a little bit? Personally. My theory of, you know, they needing to work on some things before they could produce jump points and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be on much longer. I have a family member who is ill. Hold on. I have to go get them some medicine and stuff. I will be done here in a moment. Sorry, guys. I'm having to cut the stream short here in 14 minutes. I'm having to get a sick family member some food and stuff. She's not feeling well. She hadn't felt well since last night. Not been fun for her. So, yeah, I'm sure she would appreciate some well wishes. Huh. Hang on. I'm going to be right back, chat. I got to check something. Okay. I'll be right back, chat. I'm coming back, chat. Coming back. I'm going to finish up. And then I'm going to go help out my family member for a bit. So, apologies in advance. There we go. I'm back, chat. Sorry about that. Like I was saying, when stuff was in here earlier, I have a family member who's not feeling too great and shiny right now. I'm having to go here in about 10, 15 minutes, help them out with some care, get them some food. They're not feeling great. They have stomach, they're having some sort of stomach flu or something. Obviously, they're not feeling great, folks. So if you could just keep my family in your thoughts. Hope nobody else gets sick, because getting sick is not fun, is it? The getting sick stuff sucks. Also on YouTube, thank you for all the thumbs up and likes. I appreciate it. Thank you for being so very supportive. We really appreciate it here. I'm going to leave with a few parting thoughts for what we heard at the end of the broadcast today for Star Citizen. And I'm going to get the glare out of the way. There we go. That's a little better. ISC next week is on jump points. Super excited about that. We've heard nothing, and I mean nothing, on jump points in years. Development wise, we know a player traversed a jump point some time ago. When was it? During the tests last year. But apart from that, we've heard nothing else, right? We've heard nothing else at all. Anyone on the Green Triangle platform have anything to add? I would really appreciate some opinions. You think this means they're going to work on some server back-end stuff, maybe? I mean, hopefully. I mean, we can always hope, right? I have some theory crafting I've been thinking of myself. That jump points probably, that means 4.0 is sooner than we think. That's why they're trying to push 3.24 out so soon. They want it out of the way of 4.0. That way they can focus on 4.0 and the mess that's going to create on the servers. And I guess we'll have to see. Normally I'm a skeptic of stuff, but man, this whole year has just been weird. So who do we have on Green Triangle? Anyone I know? Before I forget, for new people who are just showing up for this afternoon, I I'm also going to probably be on captain's table if I could try this week. Hopefully. Oh, before I forget, Foundation Festival started today, folks. Yeah, I can finish up with that. If no one's aware of what Foundation Festival is, yeah. Foundation Festival started today. So yeah, could be interesting. Oh, my nose. Okay. So I'm going to do about 8 more minutes. Before I forget, I'm going to change my window here. Oops. And we're going to check out the Foundation Festival lineup. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Foundation Festival adds a bunch of ships to the stuff. We're gonna go to extras. This is mostly a chump sale. As everyone knows, the big sale isn't until November. The big sale's not till November, folks. Obviously, I'm going to see things that you don't. The ships they have right now for sale in the store. Oh, ignore this. Unless you're a wing commander on a big budget, you'll never see this. This is a rare upgrade. This is the Idris P aftermarket war bond. This is awarded to you, or basically allowed to be seen by you, once you cross the 10,000 mark of spent money. Anyways, the ships available this month for this sale are the Carrack Valkyrie. This is kind of combined in with another event going on. Currently, we have the Carrack Valkyrie Caterpillar Mole. Well, the ships that are normally not here are Carrack Valkyrie and Caterpillar, as well as the 400. I don't think the 400 dollars. The Ares Ion, the Ares Inferno. Sorry. Foundation Festival Minor Pack. The First Responder Pack for Foundation Festival. There's a Prospector War Bond, Bounty Hunter pack, a Gladius, and a Avenger Titan. A C1 War Bond, that's pretty nice. Freighter pack with a Cutlass Black and Aurora. Don't think there's anything tiny. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, one last thing. You earn badges and things for Foundation Festival. It goes as a free fly till July 19th from today. For a week. I believe I have the Gladius paint. New player rewards, you get these. Veteran rewards, you get this. Ooh, nice. You have a referral bonus if you have a friend. You get the Apoa Nox. Huh. Anyways, it's a big thing that's going on for about a week and a half, week or so, you know. Hearing about figured I would spread the word that that's happening. So yeah. Anyways, here in a moment, I'm going to have to get off here, get some lunch. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming here to the stream. Greatly appreciate everyone showing up today. It was fun. So yeah, been kind of dead the last few minutes, but that's okay because it's good. All righty. Well, let's see. Before my first ad break for freaking Twitch starts again, I'm going to find someone to raid. Raid a channel. Find somebody I know. Raid Dora the Destroyer. They're a good friend of the channel. Sure, they'd appreciate your patronage over on Twitch. Please give them a follow. Go. There we go. Awesome. Now, chat, I'm going to bid you farewell. 07, everyone. Have a great day.